What's up, everybody? Ryan Carthage here, coming to you guys. Just starting the channel. What I'm looking to do is really teach people how to mark up charts, how to better understand the forex market, to be able to make some profit, right? To really learn the skill to change their life, and be able to teach people what it's done for me. So what I'm going to do is walk through my process, and I'll do this a couple times a week, just to see how we go through marking up charts. And as we continue to go, we'll talk about some of the systems that I do use to give me that additional edge in the market. So we have the pound odd here that we're going to break down today. So what I do first is really just look for support and resistance in the most recent time frame, starting on the monthly. So look for areas of support, which we have an area right here, and I use the ray just because it keeps things clean, and also have the template set up so I don't have to go back and add in all of my labels each time. So we have a monthly support here, and if you look back, look to the left, you'll see this is definitely a pretty strong area. And we have our monthly resistance here. And we want to make sure that we don't exclude any of the wicks. Alright, and we'll drop down to the weekly chart, and we will do the same thing. So what we'll see is right here we have another area where price currently is. So we'll mark this area here as a weekly support. And as we go to, I can walk through some of the basics of setting up your chart in a way so that it's organized and you can really be able to see what's going on in an organized fashion. This has helped me so much in my markups and being able to track where I am each day and each week. So, but that's our weekly support there, and this weekly resistance here. Okay, we'll drop down to our daily chart. And we're going to squeeze this in quite a bit, right? So we have some areas of a resistance here, and this weekly support area is the same as our daily. So that's kind of confluence that this is a pretty strong area that we'll definitely watch. So that's going to be our daily support as well, and our daily resistance. We have a couple that we can look at, but the most recent one is right here. Mark this as a daily resistance. Right? We have price come back and retest this area and then fall off. And we can mark this one as well just for a longer term resistance area. We'll mark it as a daily still. Alright, so two areas. So if price breaks this area, we'll look for it to come up here to the second daily resistance zone. Alright, we'll drop down to the 4 hour. You can see here this daily resistance that we marked is also our 4 hour resistance as well. And this weekly resistance, what we see here, we zoom in, right? See price is currently rejecting off of this area, and if we zoom out, we will see, zoom out, we'll see as we look. Again, this is definitely an area for us to watch, right? This price can respect this area and move back up to the daily resistance here. or if it breaks this area, which this is a tight zone, right? It'll come down to this weekly support before making the decision. So we'll mark this area as what we'll mark it as an intermediate support, because this is going to be the next level that gets broken if it does. So that's what we'll mark this as, intermediate support. And if you notice, right, everything is color coded. Again, the organization is huge when being able to track what you're doing and how the market is moving on a daily basis. So we'll intermediate support, and then we'll drop down to the 1 hour and see what we have. Right, so we'll go the 1 hour resistance here. 1 hour resistance. Right. If you see, we hover over and look to the left, you see we have price comes down and touches that point there as a form of support, and we know that once was resistance becomes support, and once support becomes resistance. So that is our area there, right? So now we have our support and resistance marked out. What I'm going to do is go back out to the daily time frame, and I'm going to draw my trend line. And I'm drawing these trend lines again. We draw outer trend lines and we draw inner trend lines. So I will grab the ray just for ease of use. All right. And again, we want to make sure we don't cut off any wicks as we do this. All right. And so how we do it is the last wick that touches the trend line, we then draw an inner trend line from that. And this will give us areas to watch as price continues to move. And we know that once price breaks one area, it's going to head towards it's going to stretch to extend to the next area. So that's on our daily time frame. And then we'll drop down back to the 4 hour, right? We'll adjust this trend line just slightly, right? And then what we'll do is we'll drop down to the 1 hour to draw our inner trend line. And this one will be a pretty aggressive trend line. We'll actually have a couple here. And these trend lines, so what happens is once price breaks the trend line, we have three things that we look for confirmation to enter a trade, right? The first is that we get a swing high or a swing low. And that swing high or swing low is a 5 candle formation. The 5 candle formation, you have a high point or a low point. You have 2 candles to the left and 2 candles to the right. So I'll pause for a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if we look here, right, we have this high point candle here, right, that high point candle. And if you see, you have 2 candles to the left of that candle that are lower than that high point, than that high candle. And you have 2 candles to the right that are lower than that high candle. And this is a confirmation signal that price is changing direction, right? So swing high, you have the high point, 2 candles to the left, 2 candles to the right, right? And then on swing low, conversely here, drag this here, right? You have your low point, you have 2 candles to the left that are higher and 2 candles to the right that are higher. That's our swing low formation, confirmation that price is starting to move up, right? So, as we look back at where price is currently, we draw our inner trend line here, not cutting off any wicks. Now we're looking for a swing low formation and a break of this trend line. If we don't get those two things, then we won't look to enter this trade. And we won't look to enter the trade until we get those two things. Excuse me. Now the other thing that we're going to do is, after we get that break of the trend line and that swing low formation, we're going to look for a pullback. And one thing that we know is that price moves, or the market moves in waves and it moves in patterns, right? And it's all math. So we do use the Fibonacci tool to mark out where price is and where it's going, and it gives us a really good indication of how price is moving. So what we want to do is come back to the low point, and we'll take this area here as our most recent low point here. Alright, and we'll draw Fibonacci from the swing low, right, to our swing high. And what we look for is, so this will help give us an indication of where price is headed based on the pullback that it gives. So each color-coded section, right, we have 88.6 is green, 78.6 is blue, 61.8, 50, and 38.2 are red. Then your 23.6 is blue. And so what this tells us is where it's going to go for our extensions, right? So we have an A point here, a B point here, and this pullback is your C. And that C, wherever that C ends, tells us where price is going to end up. So right now we are looking at a 61.8% pull, a 88.6% pullback. Zoom in, right? So we crossed the 88.6% pullback on that original move on the daily time frame. So we know that price is going to go to the 0.27 extension on the other side once we get this swing low. So what we look for, again, we look for the swing low, a break of the trend line, and then once we get that break of this trend line, then we're going to look for a pullback, and we'll wait for that pullback to happen to give us then our entry. So what we're looking for here on pound odd is we have price kind of consolidating here, and it's in the middle of a support and resistance zone. So we're going to wait to see, look for a price to push down to this weekly support level, which would be pretty close to a 100% retracement, and we'll look for price to bounce off of that. So we will not enter trade at this point on pound odd, and it's too close to, see where price is right now to this weekly. It's only 47 pips, right? So it's too close to the weekly support for us to enter any trades, but we see it's bouncing off of this intermediate support here. So we will wait for those 2 points of confirmation, right? A swing low, a break of this trend line, and that'll give us an indication that price is changing direction. And then we'll wait for our pullback to enter. So those are the steps that I take when breaking down a chart and preparing my entries. Now I do this on Saturdays, Saturday mornings from 9 to 12. My team and I, we sit down and we go through each chart so that we can prepare for the week. Organization and preparation really puts us in a position to be successful. So I appreciate you guys watching this video, and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you have any questions about my process, definitely put those in the comments. Ask any questions that you have, and I'll definitely reach out and answer those. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll chat with you guys soon.